Okay, guys, this is going to be my review for the movie. What movie am I gonna review? I have a list of them. I'll go with the Hurt Locker. This will be my review for that film. It's very interesting because when you think of a lot of war films, you think of war films that take place in like World War Two and you know Vietnam War and World War One and the Revolutionary War. But I think it's kind of refreshing to see kind of a war film that kind of takes place in modern time in the wars in the Middle East. And I think that's interesting to see with like kind of in even though this film came out like 12 years ago, still relatively speaking in a somewhat semi current context in terms of wars. And I think that's interesting. I think it's interesting to see a really realistic depiction of it, and the craziness and hecticness and the tension in this film is just great. And I think we really get to learn a lot of what makes these characters tick and want them to go to war. And I think what I love is there's really three main characters of this story, and they all bring different perspectives. One brings the perspective of not fear toward the war, but this idea of the youngest of the three, um, who's meeting with the commander. He brings this sense of realism and the truth of like 1 second you're alive, next second you're dead. And I think he sees that, and then he experiences that with a couple of other one of his soldiers friends, where he sees 1 minute they're alive and the next they're dead. So he brings, in a sense, this young realism to him. And then you got Anthony Mackie, who brings the sense of what I'd like to think is the sense of the ideal soldier. The soldier that that follows orders, that tries to get the job done, but is not too aggressive. And then you get this third perspective of kind of a perspective of arrogance. I'll do anything to get the job done, even if it's risky, even if it could cost lives. I think the typical hothead, but yet still with good intentions. And those are kind of three different perspectives that you see tackle the same scenario, like diffusing, mainly again, in this particular film, diffusing bombs and saving people and finding the enemies and all that stuff. But it's different perspectives of a group of combat soldiers, which is very interesting, very fascinating. And so while this film doesn't have like a direct plot per se, I think its greatest elements that you have to understand about the story is that it's about um in its essence about this kind of crazy um world that they're in, this war combat zone. And you see as their whole combat mission, their whole combat tour. And I think it's very interesting to see kind of the different stuff they tackle. And it's really uh, a day in the life of a soldier, but like not a day in the life, but more like a year in the life of a soldier, and seeing particularly through these three soldiers their journey throughout these wars, which is very interesting. And there's definitely many different crazy moments throughout. Anyway, stay tuned for our videos coming right at you.